You knew there had to be a catch to this federal relief program, and you knew that Republicans coming up off of some money, there had to be a catch. Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. So I'm not going to be able to participate in this federal incentive program. Why? Because I never file taxes. I never make enough money during the year on paper to actually be able to file taxes. In fact, little known fact, companies send me they do not send me 1099s. They send me letters saying, Shakaama, you didn't make enough money this year for us to even file a 1099. Why? Because it would take more time and money out of our paycheck to give you your tax information than it would actually cost in you actually making it or us actually making it, because you didn't make us any money this year. So go by your own records. I didn't even know that was a thing until I actually spoke with a licensed CPA, and the licensed CPA told me, yeah, that's true. If you don't make enough money, they won't give you a W-2, they won't give you a 1099. You're out of luck. So when I got a PayPal email that said, hey, if you qualify for the federal incentive program, you're going to get your stuff directly deposited into PayPal. And if you qualify for all of these weird federal programs that some people are on that I didn't know about, you're also going to automatically get your incentive right into your PayPal. If you don't qualify under these things, click here. So I clicked there. And it said, did you not file last year or the year before or the year before? It's actually 3 years that we're talking about. It's not 2 years, it's 3 years, first of all. And if you say no, they said, okay, as a last resort, dun, 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 you can file your income taxes this year. Now, let me tell you why that's a problem. Only about 40% of the nation files income taxes. Why is that? Because first of all, they make enough money. And second of all, they actually can get some refund back, or they actually owe money. So if it's something where they actually have some money that's going to come to them, or that they owe the federal government some money, they normally file income taxes. That means that 60% of Americans, we're going to say a cool 20% of Americans, are not old enough to even file taxes or don't even qualify to file income taxes. So that still leaves a solid, no holds barred, 40% of Americans who should be filing income taxes, but they don't. And here's the kicker. There's no reason for them to file income taxes. So to get the incentive, you actually have to file income taxes. So the government created a program that says, we're going to give you money if you file income taxes. And so they're trying to look at 100% income tax filing for this year. That's the whole scam right there. And what's funny is the Democrats were trying to block it. I guess the Democrats didn't want the Republicans to get credit for it. Well, but it's the same exact program, except for the Democrats wanted to put all this other stuff in there, like open borders and but forced climate change, and you have to spend it on you have to spend your $1,000 on carbon credits, or something like for all Americans. So the Democrats wanted to literally steal the money right back as they handed it to you. Now, for all of you people who thought that this is actually the government giving you money, let me clue you in as to this very salient fact. The government doesn't make not one red cent. Oh, I wrote a script. I should be going off of my script. The government doesn't make not one red cent. The government steals its money from the people, all of it. So when people march in the street saying, you should give money to the poor, women and children, what they're actually saying is you should steal from men and hand it over to women. And here's how it actually works. They collect all of the taxes, and I mean all of the taxes. Anything where you pay anything out of your pocket to a government official, at all. That includes the police. That includes a judge. That includes a department of whatever. That all goes into one giant pool. I know you think that it goes into some secret box somewhere, but it goes into one giant pool, all electronically. And the Federal Reserve takes 110% of it. Yes, that means that the Federal Reserve takes all of the money plus their interest on the money. And that means that we're in the hole each and every year. And for Congress to actually pay for anything, for any government to pay for anything, they have to borrow the money from the Federal Reserve, such that even if your Lord and Savior Trump, I'm a libertarian, even if your Lord and Savior Trump, in his wildest of wildest dreams, were to completely veto the Federal Reserve, I'm talking nonsense for the people who don't know how it actually works, were to veto the Federal Reserve, it would take 1,000 plus another 1,000 years to pay off the loans that our Congress, our government, has actually taken out to pay for everything. And then we would be back at square one. We wouldn't be ahead. We would be back at square one unless we started backing our money up by gold, by some actually real value, and the dollar would then skyrocket, which the government doesn't want, and the governments overseas don't want that, although they're banking on the dollar, and then this entire fiasco has actually solidified the dollar as the world currency, because as these other countries are falling, the United States is still staying strong, because the money in the United States was actually based on a strong economy that was pushing forward. We've come so far, and have you see that the people who were actually suppressing the gold prices, they fell by the wayside because the volume of people trying to get into gold has now skyrocketed. So, if you hear me saying, oh, we need to back our currency by gold, and you are so wise, you think that, oh, this fool doesn't know what he's talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Volume outdoes big moneymaker players, right? Volume meaning masses and masses and masses amounts of people trading into gold, buying gold. So that gold has finally turned around and has a real value to it right now. Gold, unlike everything else, actually is a rare commodity. We don't actually there's a bunch of ETFs on gold. We don't have enough gold to actually cover the ETFs as they're traded currently. And guess who's buying up gold like it's a rare commodity? China. Oh my goodness, look at that. Yes, I'm sarcastic and giving you a actual news report. Legally, filing your federal income tax is voluntary. The Supreme Court has said that in about 100 times in court cases. Of course, the federal government isn't going to let you not volunteer, but you need a lawyer and an accountant, the likes of which not even Wesley Snipes could afford to get away with it. Now, just to touch upon Wesley Snipes for a second, while his accountant, I believe, is the one who actually told him, you don't have to file income taxes, what he failed to do was get a lawyer to set Wesley Snipes up into a situation where everything was going fine. Now, just a little bit of celebrity gossip on Wesley Snipes. Chris Rock is on record saying that the country was told that Wesley Snipes had done this and that and the other, and that he was convicted and blah, 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 and that he was in jail. Chris Rock said he was at a Hollywood party and he saw and spoke to Wesley Snipes while he was supposed to be in jail. Don't believe everything that you hear coming from the news. Do I have to tell you all that? Can I get a show of hands of people who know that they don't have to believe, they should not be believing anything that the news is saying? So I don't think Chris Rock is telling stories. Not only that, Chris Rock named some other names of people who saw Wesley Snipes while he was supposed to be in jail. Now, so maybe that entire story of Wesley Snipes getting in trouble was all smoke and mirrors to get everybody afraid that, oh my God, a big, powerful, rich guy like Wesley Snipes couldn't get away with not paying taxes. But let me just tell you just for a second, you need a lawyer to set you up stuff like living trust, blah, 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 blah. Do you know all the movie stars now, today? I don't know about when Wesley Snipes was big, but today, movie stars don't actually act and get paid on their own name. Chris Rock isn't paid, handed over a check for $10 million in the name of Chris Rock. He's handed over a check in the name of Chris Rock Incorporated. They've all set up corporations and they get paid like that. And that way they can avoid paying all of the. They live in California. How do you think they live in California? One of the, if not the most taxed nations in the world, and that they're A-OK with it. They have everything set up where they don't have to pay all of those taxes. Now, if you believe that that's terrible and that's horrible, you should also not be paying taxes. So let me first say that before you get all up in arms about the rich aren't paying their fair share. The rich still pay mostly all of the taxes, period. They can't really avoid it. What they don't want to pay and what they can get away with is not paying the government their income taxes, which means by the sweat of their brow. While you think being in Hollywood and being a movie star and all that is really fantastic, you have to remember that a lot of those movie stars and models and stuff like that are up at 4 o'clock in the morning, working out, standing in cold, standing in freezing water. If they're underwater, they have 50 scuba lifeguards standing around them while they're shooting shot to get a smile underwater, right? And so many of them have passed away shooting stuff on set. It's not the glamorous thing that you're thinking of. Speaking of which, the guy who plays the little blonde-haired king on Game of Thrones said he hated it because it was horrible. It was nothing like theater. It has nothing to do with that. Hollywood, that's all fake, and a lot of times it's very dangerous. Just to give something, just to give a little bit of gossip in my little boring report. Now, only about 40% of the country ever files income taxes. They literally don't care if you make less than something like $80,000 to $100,000 a year. That being said, they steal most of your money by other means. Money you are eligible for, or money that they were sending you back. I've had that happen to me. I've been waiting on a refund check and no refund check, and no letter saying you're not getting a refund check and here's why. I had to call in and speak to the IRS agent myself. I had to call the IRS. And that was under Obama. And they said, we now tax all the way up to $0 income. Now, what I did not know is that you could, even if you file all of this, I file all of that stuff. Household income credit, if you don't make enough money, the government actually gives you money instead, so that the government is taken from taxpayers who actually owe the government money based on what the government says they owe, and gives it to poor people. There's a CPA in the audience. He can explain it under his thing. Congress and the Fed is getting away with goobs gobs of corruption. And no, your nice congressman can't do anything about it. YouTube has updated their policy such that it doesn't matter what you say. If you say even the most tepid words, Google can demonetize you now. So I have to keep my thing not just rated G. I have to keep my language super rated G, to the point where it's something that you wouldn't say in front of your very traditional grandmother, or in front of a young impressionable child. They have gone overboard in what they're demonetizing now. Trump can't do anything about it, even on his best day. I know you put your hope and faith in him, a lot of you, And I think it's well deserved because he's a businessman. As much as people want to uh, make him out to be the devil, he's a businessman. That's all he is. He's not Republican. He's not Democrat. He's a businessman. You know, Wall Street doesn't care who sits in Congress at all. They will work with whoever they will work with. Remember, so did Germany. Keep that in mind. The business people, and at the time the aristocracy, didn't care. And understand that while everybody is suffering in the country, Wall Street went up 500 points when Bernie Sanders got out of the race. Did you hear about that? Oh, but did Bernie Sanders get out the race? He turned around and said, I'm still on the ballot. You can still vote for me. I'm not out yet. Keep hope alive, or whatever he says. There would have to be like this Democratic resistance, which is all smoke and mirrors to against Trump, pretending like they don't like Trump. Trump does exactly what they want. I'm sorry to burst everybody's bubble, Democrats and Republicans. Trump does exactly what they want. He can only do so much. He's the president of the United States. That is a kept position. Do you understand what that means? Let me explain that for a second. That is a position where the person sitting in that position has a bunch of barracudas circling him, and he has to ask permission of what he can and can't do. Now, what they can't contain is what he says. So Trump, unlike other presidents, says whatever is on his mind. And everybody should be applauding that. Even the most Democratic people or liberal people or leftist people. Oh, that, by the way, there's a big distinction between leftist and liberal. Liberal still means that they're for the people, right? The leftists are for the destruction of the country. Country, company, it's the same thing. If ask somebody in the chat what I mean by that. So this is a big, huge scam. You knew it was happening. You knew they're not going to come up off some money. They're trying to get away with 100% people filing for income taxes to get at that $1,200 that they think the government is handing out. The government isn't handing out anything. They're giving you back your own money. Now, some people believe that it is not fair, and according to the Constitution, it's not legal to tax people income tax. Now, I know there is a bunch of acts and legislation setting up the IRS and the Federal Reserve and the income tax. Constitutionally speaking, if we're going to go strictly by the Constitution, and this is why the Supreme Court holds every time the case comes up that it's all voluntary, because according to the Constitution, it is not constitutional. You don't have a right to stop people from living their life, and taxing them at their job stops people from living their lives. A lot of stuff has come out that taxing people like this and taxing businesses and forcing businesses to do this, that, and the other is actually making them close. Now, here's a bonus fact for the entire report. Some businesses are closing and going out of business because of this federal relief fund. Now, how do you think that is? Sure, here's what's going on. So, a lot of businesses squeak by on a really tiny margin for those of you who are not in business. So, for instance, all of your food, most of your food, they barely make a profit on. What they make a profit on is everybody needing food, everybody coming to the store. So thousands and thousands of people come through the doors each and every day in a grocery store. And so they make thousands and thousands of pennies of profit off of stuff. They make more profit off of other stuff like, I think, soda or something like that. But even then, even soda for even a grocery store isn't very profitable. In a grocery store, almost nothing is profitable. And I mean, like, they buy it for 20 cents and sell it for 40 cents. Doesn't happen. They buy it for 20 cents and they sell it for 21 cents. And the whole idea is to actually get you to come into the store. There's a very famous documentary about Walmart, why Walmart can afford to, or the grocery store can afford to sell $6 chickens when the raw chicken back in the butcher shop is $6.50. But they're up there in the front selling a fully cooked chicken that you don't have to have a stove. You don't have to have anything. You could just take it, and it's even warmed under a warmer. You could take it home and eat it ready made. And they said, how is it that you have this? And they said, it's marketing. We get you to come into the store to buy the $6 cooked chicken, and hopefully you buy anything else. And hopefully you buy $100 worth of something else. But we are still doing it even after the price dropped on chicken down to something like $5. And the people were like, how are you still selling chickens for a fully cooked chicken for $6 when the prices drop on regular raw chicken to $5 or something like that, or something like that. And they no, it went up. The raw chicken went up to like $7 or something like that. And they said, well, this is the marketing works. We have, they track you once you set foot in the store. They track you all through the store. So you come and buy, and you pick up a chicken. And they say that person came there for that chicken. They did all of their shopping first and then got the chicken because the chicken is warm. And then they went out the store. And the chicken was why they came into the store. They track you all through the store. So raw chicken went up to something like $7, right? A chicken, right? Something like that. But they were still selling a fully cooked chicken for $6. I don't have these numbers correct, I'm sure, in my head, but you get the point. These businesses that operate on these really tiny margins are skating by, and then all of this happens, and their little tiny margin went poof. Now, in some states, when their business goes poof, they're still on the hook for paying all of your labor costs and all that sort of stuff. With this incentive going out, they can now tack all of their income that they owe you to that incentive and close shop. Boom, they get away scot-free. That's not bad or good or anything. That's just business because the labor cost was killing them to begin with. A lot of stuff is all tied to paying people to stay, keep the doors open, pay people to work, right? And some of it is not very beneficial to the company at all. When all of this minimum wage started going up, a lot of these companies just immediately folded because they can't pay somebody who makes them $8 an hour, but have to pay them $15 an hour to work. Can't be done. And they have to pay that. The government doesn't have to pay that. Now, there are some states that worked it out where you get your $15 an hour, but tax across the board, and then give the company incentive to pay you the $15 an hour on paper. You don't get to see $15 an hour, but the company makes out because now the state or the city or state is actually funding your $15 an hour. Those are smart business people who are getting over on the rest of the people in the city, including the people who don't work because they're collecting all the taxes from all of you all through sales tax and other tax. Thank you all for watching. Leave a comment. Please donate to the channel, something like $20 to paypal.me/Shakaama. I am in a very bad position. But I have resolved myself not to worry, not to stress out, because I have high blood pressure to begin with. And stress is not very good for somebody already with high blood pressure, right? So I keep smiling, keep shining, and keep going, believing in myself and believing, and I'm going to start crying if I keep going on. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down and leave a comment. This is an intellectual channel. Tell me exactly what you think.